So let's talk about a group that didn't just climb to the top. They completely bulldozed the old path and built a new one. This is the story of SB19, and trust me, it's all about how they changed the rules of the game.
You know, this one sentence right here, it pretty much says it all. This isn't just a story about getting famous. It's about fundamentally changing how the world sees Filipino music. And that's the core idea we're going to dig into.
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth did 5 guys from the Philippines manage to flip the entire script? All right, let's get into it.
Okay, first things first, you have to understand their foundation. Their rise to the top wasn't about flashy marketing or some industry shortcut. Nope, it was built on something way more powerful, something real.
Just look at this comparison for a second. On the left, you've got the standard industry formula. Throw a ton of money at it, make everything look perfect from day one. But on the right, that's the SB19 way. As outlets like Billboard and CNN Philippines have reported, their journey was the absolute polar opposite. We're talking years of brutal training, juggling day jobs just to get by, and facing serious financial hardship. This was not some prepackaged product. This was forged in fire.
So then, 2019 happens. The Go Up dance practice video just explodes online. But here's the thing you have to remember, that was not an overnight success. That viral moment was earned through years of grinding in the dark. And what's really crucial here is that they didn't just take that win for themselves. They used that momentum to kick the door wide open for the entire P-pop genre.
And that brings us to the next rule they just completely shattered, maybe the most revolutionary one of all. They took control. And this single move would go on to redefine what power means for an artist in the industry. As you might have seen covered in places like Rappler, SB19 did something pretty much unheard of for a Filipino group. They started their own company, 1Z Entertainment. Now, this wasn't just some smart business decision. It was basically a declaration of independence. It gave them total, unfiltered control over their art and their future. And just think about what that decision unlocked for them. Total creative freedom to make the music they wanted to make. The power to build their own brand, their own identity from the ground up. But maybe the most important thing, they set a massive precedent. They showed a whole new generation of artists, hey, you don't have to give away your power to make it big.
Okay, so they've got the grit, they've got the ownership, but what about the actual music? Well, this is where they broke yet another rule. They absolutely refused to water down their identity to try and appeal to a global audience. I mean, the sheer range they have is incredible. You've got Mabala, which is this beautiful, deeply personal song, a tribute to their parents that's just soaked in Filipino culture. And then on the flip side, you get Gento, this powerful, unapologetic banger that became a massive global dance challenge. They basically proved that Filipino music can be anything and everything it wants to be. And that's the absolute key right there. Their success isn't something they found by hiding their Filipino identity. It's because they put it front and center. They took their culture, their language, their stories, and they amplified it all with world-class production. They created something brand new and totally irresistible.
Now, there is absolutely no way you can tell the story of SB19 without talking about the engine behind so much of what they do, and that is their fan base, A10. And let me tell you, this is not your average fandom. There's a reason why huge international outlets like Enemy Asia have sat up and taken notice of ATIN. They are so organized, so strategic. They operate with this incredible sense of mission. And here's the real difference maker. They don't just champion SB19. They advocate for the entire P-pop scene because they truly get that a rising tide lifts all boats. It really makes you stop and think, right? In today's world of social media and streaming, how much can a truly dedicated, passionate, and organized fandom really influence an artist's career, their whole legacy? Well, when you look at A10, the answer seems to be a whole heck of a lot. Okay, so let's put it all together. The grit, the ownership, the music, the fandom, it all builds up to this final massive point. How SB19 totally rewrote the definition of global success for a Filipino artist. The most important thing to see here is that these aren't just vague feelings or opinions. We're talking about hard, verifiable facts. We're talking multiple entries on the Billboard charts. We're talking performances on huge international stages, getting nods from major players like the Recording Academy. They didn't just go global. they carried the Philippines with them, putting their language and their culture on a worldwide stage. And that, right there, that might just be the single biggest rule they ever broke. They proved that Filipino artists don't have to wait around for someone to give them a stamp of approval. You don't need permission to be seen, to be heard, or to chase a global dream. When you boil it all down, what SB19 really did was change the entire conversation. They took all the doubt and turned it into a global dialogue. They took local pride and transformed it into global respect. They made P-pop a genre that the world simply could not ignore anymore. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Out of everything they did, what do you think was the single biggest game changer? Was it them taking ownership of their careers? Was it their unique musical blend? Or was it the way they represented their culture on the world stage? Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.